The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Emperor had brought the Sky Ripper pieces up out of ancient burial by his obscene rituals. Could this be where the Iblis Stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Reynardo. On the other hand, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Lupino was no game changer, but could Reynardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens? The island was windswept desert. Every child Once upon a time, the infamous rover Reynardo plundered the floating isles. Then his mother called him to her deathbed. "Swear to me that you won't die on the gallows," she rasped. Reluctantly, he swore. And he whiled away his days at home with music, cards, and wine. But the Emperor had changed. He'd been good once, a shy, almost humble toad. He'd built universities. But then people started whispering about mass graves in the woods, midnight rituals, victims screaming. The Imperial Ravens would round up entire villages, and no one ever returned. The Ravens had come to Ubar scouting for ancient books said to be of great power. But the librarians had hidden the books, so they'd burnt the librarians. The citizens, outraged, had driven them off. The Ravens had come back with dropships. The kid had fled with one of those books. He was brave and dumb and wanted to join the rebellion. And Reynardo had promised his mother he'd protect him. The kid was looking down, watching his city burn. "Sorry, kid," Reynardo told the kid. "Look, if we give them the book, they'll leave you alone." "My mother died for this book!" "I promised her I'd protect you." "Oh, damn it." The kid had run off. With the book, of course. So Reynardo had to run after him. The two ravens were staring at the kid like he was their dinner, which probably was what was in their tiny brains. "Hey," Reynardo said. They cocked their heads at him. "Pick on someone as ugly as you." Wait, that didn't come out right.
For the Emperor!
The ravens cawed and rushed at him. A dropship flew overhead. He hoped they hadn't noticed him. The kid. Oh, right. The Gate of Heroes. Someone's idea of a joke, making the Skyship Docks a gated community. You needed a hero's sword to open it. And the kid was on the other side of the gate. Who let you through? Promise me you'll take the book to the rebels, or I'm gonna steal your ship. I'm not taking that damn book anywhere, and neither are you.
Try and stop me, laughed the kid. I bet you don't even have a hero sword.
And with that, the kid hopped away. Had to hand it to the kid. He was an idiot, but he had guts. Where was Reynardo going to get a hero sword? Ore and wind essence? That sounds about right. I'll need a workshop, though. Perfect. A hero sword. QED. This is what he got for settling down and finding people to care about. The kid's mum had been a swell cook, and she'd laughed at Reynardo's jokes, even when he didn't know he'd made one. And then the ravens had come to burn her. And she'd made him promise to protect the kid. But she never told him where the book was. Just the kid. He came up to a ledge. It was too far to jump. There'd been a bridge here before, hadn't there? And there was Peter, giggling at him. "How'd you get across?" he asked the kid. "Where'd you find a hook?" "I hopped," said the kid. Wise-ass kid. "Hey, look out behind you!" "Cute," said Reynardo. Ah, ravens. It was time to talk some sense into the kid. Just hook his way across the ledge and chase the kid down. Thing was, he hadn't used his hook since he'd retired. How had he done it? Maybe if he meditated? At that altar there, he'd remember his old skills. was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember. And there was the Farfarer. She was the fastest ship he'd ever known. She could do the Kestra run in 12 furlongs. Well, so the salesman had told him. And something told him the kid was about to walk into an ambush.
Stop! He shouted. I'm not giving you the book! Shouted the kid, and took off. No! Peter!
But the kid ran for it. And a goggler nailed him with its eye-beam. The book was unburned. Next to it were the buckles from the kid's shoes, in a kid-sized pile of ashes. Damn it. Why hadn't he lied and told the kid he'd take the book to the rebels? The kid would be alive now. Really pissed off and betrayed, but alive. Oh, damn it. Reynardo picked up the book. He couldn't let the Empire have it now. He was going to have to get it out of there. He'd be a wanted man. Probably have to join the rebellion just to have a place to dock. Well, he'd hated home life anyway. What was the big deal about this book, anyway? Maybe he should open it and find out. All that had been years ago. How many? The war was a blur, and now 3 Raven scout ships were chasing him.
Where are you running, rebel?
Cawed the Raven captain over the loudhailer. Reynardo could see them cranking up their catapults.
Just going out for milk?
Reynardo yelled back.
Where can you run?
Laughed the Raven horribly. Far behind it, another city was burning. The dark cloud above its island was thousands of Imperial ships. The fleet was doing a thorough job.
Take us to the rebel base! I will spare your life!
It called. The entire jury-rigged rebel fleet was only a few islands to the east. Beyond that were only the pillars of heaven. A sea of endless blood-colored tornadoes. The rebellion was out of time. Unless Reynardo could bring a game-changer. Maybe he could. Reynardo had found out where he could find the pieces of the Sky Ripper, the legendary weapon that had exiled the lost gods. Surely a legendary weapon could win the final battle. On the other hand, his old friend Lapino had sent Reynardo a desperate message saying he had a brilliant scheme to save the rebellion. If Reynardo could only rescue him. Reynardo dived the Farfarer towards the abyss. As he felt the heat of the jet stream, the Raven ships peeled off, not stable enough to follow him down there. Now it was time to choose. Lapino or the Sky Ripper? Apparently, the Mad Rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not exactly own. Lupino always wiggled out of trouble given time, but he was out of time. The Ravens had figured out that Lupino was a rebel spy. If the fleet reached him first, they'd string him up for that. Never mind the winged horse. Lupino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen a winged horse. He'd only sold it. But wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens? If I craft a sword now, it's going to be really short. What did you do if one of these platforms stalled? People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Reynardo had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the Ravens' call about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice. Reynardo's blood was up. He just needed to smash something. Ravens were landing everywhere. The advance guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lupino. Where had the Mad Rabbit got to?
Renato felt like he was ready to learn new things. Thank goodness he didn't have to go to school for that.
It was starting to come back to him. Something you never completely forgot, like how to freeze time when attacking. The more he fought, the more he'd probably remember.
Come over here.
Renato felt a chill run down his back. Or possibly a flea.
Can't we just agree to disagree? Said Renato. No?
Dirty and bloody, Renato finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Renato recognized the cards. It was Lapino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, we see this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who also happened to be a deadly sorcerer and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power. Zenobia wasn't just the Emperor's daughter, of course. She'd been Renato's best friend in Sword Fu school. And you're still mad for her, the rabbit reminded him. They'd been close. She'd told him things no one else knew. But she'd never told him who she really was. She knows all the Emperor's plans, chuckled the master spy. She won't give them up easily. She'll tell the interrogators, all right, said Lapino. Taking her would change the game, all right. The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Renato shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty. It was good to practice your moves, thought Renato. Keeps you limber. Gogglers. Reynardo hated gogglers. It was almost impossible to sneak past them. If one didn't spot you, another one would. Sleep tight, thought Reynardo. So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Reynardo hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Reynardo. Oh, this is gonna be fun, said Lupino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan. A crafting bench. Reynardo wondered what he could make with it. Boom! Reynardo felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Lupino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Reynardo jumped out of the watermelon and put his sword to Zenobia's throat. Reynardo, she said, are those new scars? They look good on you. You never returned my velvet jacket. It was my favorite. You look stupid in velvet. Ah, what does an imperial princess know about style? Oh, get a room, you two, said Latino. But the fleet was coming on fast, so they put Zenobia on the Farfarer and took her east, over the Nexus. She'd vanished from Swordfu School, from his life, without even saying goodbye, without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter. Ah, Lapina was right, Renato thought reluctantly. She knows things. She recognized his look. You're taking me to the interrogators, aren't you? She said, wide-eyed. And then she jumped, with horror. Renato saw Zenobia plummeting. Then he saw the Nexus below them, always land on their feet. Ah, she'll head for the Imperial outpost, yelled Lapino. You have to catch her. Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer. If he ran, he could head her off before she reached her minions at the outpost. Well, he did love a good chase. This was much easier than free climbing. Who needed bridges anyway? Well, they really needed to redecorate anyway. He was closing on her. He could smell her fear. He tried not to think about the interrogators at the secret base. What did they do to her? Maybe it didn't have to end that way. Maybe he could talk to her. But, after all, there were worse things the Imperials had done to friends of his. Reynardo reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him. Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. "Oh, you left without saying goodbye." Again, he said, "Please, you're enjoying this a little too much," she said, shaken. "Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you?" said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. "She knows all his plans." All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Reynardo about how the interrogators would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. How that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do was take her to the rebels' secret base. Reynardo didn't like to think about what the interrogators would do to her. Couldn't he just talk to her? As they pulled away from the Nexus, Reynardo could see the fear in Zenobia's eyes. "I can't take her to those creatures at the base," he whispered to Lapino. "Ah, you've gone soft. Soft in the head. We captured her for what she knows. I'll take her to the mountains. Tell all the horrible things the Emperor's done. Yeah, believe me, she'll turn." And he turned the wheel. "The hell you will!" shouted Lapino, and he grabbed the wheel back from him. The two of them wrestled for control of the ship. It shot off like a mad sparrow. Suddenly, Reynardo was falling. When he came to, Zenobia was standing over him. "Why didn't you take me to the base to be interrogated?" she demanded. "Do you know what's left of people they interrogate? This is some trick, isn't it? To make me fall for you again. Well, I won't." "Oh, go on then. Scurry back to your ravens. I can't stop you." But strangely, she didn't. As Reynardo set off to find the Farfarer, she followed him, keeping just out of sight of the ravens. "I need more materials," thought Reynardo. Ravens didn't smell any better dead, Reynardo thought. Big eyes you have. Is that a word for a lot of ravens? Like a doofus of ravens? As Renato stopped to sniff the wind, Zenobia came up, still mad.
Did you really think you'd just talk me into betraying my father?
Oh yeah, sure, that was exactly my plan.
Then why aren't you even talking to me?
Because I've never talked you into anything in my life.
They're gonna court-martial you for letting me go.
He caught a whiff of the Farfarer. Wet rope, tar, and a cask of Scoble ale he'd spilt last year. It was that way. A very clever engineer named Elon Muskrat had got his start making floating platforms. Not many people knew that. Renato wondered if he should have taken Zenobia to the rebel base for real. Maybe she wasn't playing him after all. After the bleak talk about the Emperor's dark secrets, he was regretting his suspicions.
Whee!
Sure enough, the Farfarer had crashed in some rocks. There was no sign of Lupino. Zenobia caught up.
All that kid stuff in Swordfu School. Look, that's the past. We're adults now. We have duties to other people. We have destinies. What are you talking about? And you are the most arrogant, slow-witted, light-fingered, mercenary, immoral, reckless...
Run away with me, said Renato, and he realized he meant it.
What? Just like that?
She demanded.
I will, if you will.
So she kissed him. And it was the best kiss he'd ever had. They held hands as they boarded the Farfarer. Renato felt light-hearted, like the winds that were playing the rigging like a balalaika.
But Lupino, I need to get back to Lupino, he said, suddenly realizing he could have been captured. A prisoner.
He's not.
How'd you know?
He saw something in her eyes he didn't understand. He fell, didn't he? Into the abyss. She looked away, wouldn't answer.
But then a bolt smashed through the Farfarer's keel. The broken ship plummeted out of the clouds.
Renato picked himself off the deck. They were alive.
We have to get to my private ship, she said. Do you trust me?
I guess I must, he said.
You go on ahead. Clear the path, she said. I can't kill my own soldiers.
He wanted to say that he didn't trust her, that he had no idea what he was getting into. But he had no choice, did he? He was following his heart. That's what it means to be a hero. You had to follow your heart.
Missed his old skills. he welcomed them back like he was at a reunion.
He was sort of yanking his own chain, wasn't he?
Everybody knew you shouldn't trust a raven further than you could throw one. But did vertical drop count?
Reynardo had always wanted a flying carpet. This was more like a flying tabletop, but it would do.
Hurt. Good! I need a new rug for me nest, said the lead raven.
They paused to catch their breath. It was strange to be so close to her. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "I'm trying very hard not to think." "Me too," he said. Up ahead, he could see the thin silver of Zenobia's personal ship. It looked fast. They would leave all this behind.
become faster, stronger, bolder. If only he could figure out which. The platform used a hybrid propulsion system fueled by anti-gravity and wishful thinking. As they reached her ship, Renato suddenly felt a sharp pain in his stomach. He was surprised to see a crossbow bolt sticking out of it. "I was going to lead the Empire to a secret base," said Lapino. "But no, you had to screw up my plan because you've still got a thing for her." Renato stared at Zenobia. The kiss, was it real? She said, with a look of indescribable sorrow. She gestured and said an arcane word, and Lapino went flying into the abyss, screaming, "I'm telling your father!" Then she knelt down to cradle his head, and her paws felt very soft and warm. Okay, that was weird. He could have sworn he just died. Instead, he was on the Farfarer, sailing away from Ubar. And it was still burning. He'd fled burning Ubar years ago, hadn't he? And now he was back there. Had all those years fighting the Empire been nothing but a vision into the future? A useful vision if it was true. He'd learned something. Lapino was a traitor. Renato had suspected there was something wrong with the Mad Rabbit, but now he knew there was malice behind his goofiness.
He'd made bad choices. But now, when the real battle came, he wouldn't make those choices. He wouldn't make the same mistake twice. The book's pages began to flip backwards, towards the beginning. And he realized that his adventure was just beginning. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Emperor had brought the Sky Ripper pieces up out of ancient burial by his obscene rituals. Could this be where the Iblis Stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Reynardo. And also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Reynardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens? The island was windswept desert. No one went there except ostriches and ostrich hunters. The Iblis Stone. It sounded ominous. It sounded powerful. If the Emperor was searching for it, it must be dangerous. And so, Reynardo went ostrich hunting. Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper. But ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls. A ruby that drank blood. A jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things the Iblis Stone? Long hidden in a buried temple? Another ancient item that was only resurfacing now? Drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals? This burning sword from the south was terrific for barbecuing sausages and ravens. And this is why heroes are called dashing, Reynardo thought. See? Dashing? Get it? The Ravens were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late.
Cool. Wish I could do that.
That was fun. Let's do this again sometime. What were these poles exactly? Parking meters from the time of the lost gods? Oh, sweet! A gem. All he needed now was a workbench, and he could slot it into his gauntlet. How could a temple to Iblis still even exist? The Transcendent Emperor had destroyed all the shrines of the lost gods after exiling them. Had it been buried in that long-ago battle? Or had Iblis foreseen his fate and hidden it from his enemy? The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders. He wasn't that good. Yet.
This couldn't be good for global warming. It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. Nervous, he picked it up. I can make you mighty. Who said that? Give me blood. It was the stone. Eager, thirsty. Kill the Emperor's daughter. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and Reynardo wasn't sure he really wanted to be Emperor. Why not capture the core of Skyripper instead? It was the eye of a lost god torn out by the Transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. "It's the core," said the stone anxiously. "Feed me death, and I will give you the power to do what you want." The stone bothered him. He hated being told what to do. Wasn't that why he joined the rebellion? Wasn't that why he'd refused to be a soldier? He'd agreed to come on board only if he could freelance. The stone felt a bit clingy. The sage Calaveras had told him where to find the Skyripper, a weapon capable of challenging the gods. Even without its armature, the core would still possess great power. He would go there. The moment he landed the Farfarer, Reynardo had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around and sail for Zenobia's island. He frowned. Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he? Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Swordfu School together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself. Except the biggest one, that she was the Emperor's daughter. No. Kill Zenobia, whispered the stone, before it's too late. That was always a rush. I wonder what I could make with all these sword crafting materials, thought Reynardo. There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
Who do I have to kill to get a drink around here? You? Okay.
The stone hadn't lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. "You're weak," whispered the stone. "The core will kill you." "Are you afraid of it?" "No, don't be ridiculous," it chuckled. But it's unstable. It will poison you if so much as carry it, and if you try to use it, it will explode catastrophically. Reynardo did not trust rocks that talked in his head. He went onwards.
That is how we do it, said Reynardo to himself.
As he approached the core, the stone became hysterical. "No, it's too much power. We'll rip a hole in space and time." He had a sudden vision of plunging his gauntlet into the core and dying in anguish. That wasn't his vision, was it? The stone had sent him its darkest fears, hadn't it? He had a sudden impulse to do exactly that. He raised his right fist and plunged it into the core. There was a rush of light. He thought he could hear the stone screaming. And then he passed out. When Reynardo came to, the core was gone. But the Iblis stone was no longer black, but glowing with a blue light. And it was silent. "I can't hear you," he sang out, and "You?" It didn't answer. "Ha!" he said. He had defeated the demonic gem with the power of his mind. He felt invincible. It was time to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he? As the Farfarer made its way toward the Nexus, Reynardo could see tiny sparks in the blackness that was the Iblis stone, as if somewhere within it, the core was still spitting out energy, which the Iblis stone sucked in hungrily. You'd think the stone would want this kind of power, wouldn't it? Thought Reynardo. Well, the scientists would explain it all.
See? He'd trusted his gut, and it had worked out. That's what it meant to be a hero. To ignore the naysayers and the odd-makers, and do what you knew was right, and have it turn out to be the right thing. Well, he wasn't worried. Once he got to the observatory, the scientist toads could explain it. Then he could carry the war into the enemy's camp and destroy them all. Oh dear, he was getting a little bloodthirsty, wasn't he?
Once you try it,
You're hooked. Once, Renato had been to a dungeon where all the chests were locked. It was awful.
Nice. That could be useful.
Renato wondered how his laundress was going to get all these bloodstains out of his tunic.
Renato had never felt better in his life. Normally, a battle would wear him down and he would need a night's sleep. Now he felt like he could go all night and all day. He felt like people were cheering him on, and he could practically hear their applause as he slew one raven after another. That ought to be enough for a proper sword, he thought. The Imperial fleet was closing in on the rebels, forcing them to come out and fight. Renato was itching to bring the fight to the enemy. He had to remind himself not to be too reckless. This sword from the frigid north was really useful for making popsicles and birdsicles. That could have gone better, thought Renato as he died.
This would be the perfect place for a tic-tac-toe board.
Snack time, Bob! Boy, some people were just liable to explode if you upset them. Oops. Thought, Renato?
Sometimes, at home, he'd wave his sword around for hours.
The toads at the observatory measured the stone with their occult devices. I fed it the core of Skyripper, explained Renato. No more feed me blood and souls.
But the core is not an unlimited energy source,
said one toad. Another said,
there's a feedback loop, you see, which could overload the stone.
Yeah, the stone doesn't actually feed on souls,
claimed a third.
but on pain of killing another sentient being. If you can truly be at peace with yourself, it would not overload.
This was all very confusing. At peace? Yes, the mountains were peaceful and quiet, but he now had the power to turn the tides. He should report to the Rebellion Council and prepare for the decisive battle. The one thing he understood from all the Toad arguments, maybe the stone did not feed on blood, or souls, or rage. It fed on empathy. It fed on the pain he felt when he put an end to another being's existence. Even if that other being was a raven intent on killing him, if he could find peace, then he could use the power of the Ibla Stone without being taken over by its evil. The mountains. He would go to the mountains. He could find peace there. Unfortunately, the mountains were not empty. There were ravens everywhere. No matter. He had to fight, yes, but he didn't have to be angry. Parry, dodge, slash, and breathe. Yes, focus on the rhythm, the dance of it. Not on the blood or the raven's core as they died. Ah, it was working. He wasn't feeling those dark jolts of eldritch energy. He wasn't feeding the Iblis Stone. It was a bit windy up here. The stone was still silent. His mind was his own, and his heart too. He bore them no ill will, these ravens. They were doing their job. They were expressing their nature. Dance, whirl, parry, jab, and breathe. It was all so simple, wasn't it? But something was missing. He didn't feel truly at peace. Wait. Wasn't this near where Calaveras lived? The sage would help him figure it all out. Renado's paws were getting numb. Calaveras really didn't want company, did he? Renado had learned so much about... Ooh, what was it again? Hero Wall, Hero Sword, Ice Wall, Ice Cube. Huh? A lever? That was new.
Most people still use doorknobs.
Who are these guys? They seem to make everyone else harder to kill.
Sharp? Check. Pointy? Check. Flexible? Check. What else do you need in a sword?
Think of all the artisans he was creating employment for. Truly, he was the Iblis Stone, silenced by the Skyripper's core, had given Reynardo enough power to challenge the Imperial fleet. But what Reynardo was seeking was inner peace. The rebellion was on the verge of extinction, but it would have to wait.
At the end of the mountain path, he found the wise Calaveras in his workshop. Do you fix souls or only artifacts? He asked the sage.
Does your soul need fixing?
Asked the sage. I've been killing a lot of ravens lately, he told the sage.
You're a fox,
said Calaveras.
To kill birds is part of your nature. You should take joy in it. I mean, I might as well worry about eating flies. Would you like a fly?
It was true. That's what he had forgotten. The joy. Now he was ready for the final battle. The Farfarer cut through the clouds. The air had never felt so sweet since he was a child.
There it was, the dreaded Imperial fleet. He could smell wet hemp ropes ahead, wood and tar, and ravens. Even the fleet smelt good, somehow. He was ready.
He was ready.
Reynardo had it all squared away in his head.
He would kill the Emperor. Isengrim III had begun well, but he had gone mad. He was trying to invoke the lost gods by means of dark, blasphemous rituals. That was a secret. But the victims had spoken to Reynardo. The ghosts had spoken. No. No anger. Reynardo could not afford anger. It was empowering the crystal in his sword. That made him stronger, but it clouded his mind. He would not be a hero. A hero strives. Reynardo would just be one with everything. The Emperor would die, and the wheel would turn, and all would be restored without rancor, without sorrow, without pain.
What was really fun was hooking yourself onto a moving ship.
beat Reynardo at hot potato.
Imagine getting a horse up in one of these things. He would be cursing a blue streak. But the more he thought about it, and he had so much more time to think about it now that he was not worrying about the battle, killing the Emperor would not change anything. Another would take his place. Perhaps Zenobia. Perhaps the Speaker of the Rebel Council, and power would corrupt them too, and death would make grief, and grief would lead to hatred. He must lead by example. Reject the violence. Reject the desire to create violence. But how?
You shall not pass.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Funny that this whole war had come about because the Emperor feared death. And now it was coming for him. There was some sort of lesson there, wasn't there? Finally, he came to the Emperor's ship. The path behind him was strewn with dead ravens. The path to enlightenment. His mistake, he realized, was
trying to change the world. The world would spin and the wheel would revolve whether he strove against it or not. What he had to do was nothing. He had attained enlightenment. He sat down, adopted a full lotus position, and began to meditate. And all around him, the warriors stopped fighting too. They knew. They could feel his enlightenment. They gave up fighting, dropped their weapons, and became his disciples. No, just kidding. The nearest raven stabbed him with a sword and then chopped off his head. I might not have thought this through properly. Thought Renado's head as it rolled around the deck and died. Renado stared at the book. He was still alive. Again. And still only flying away from burning Ubar. Had he lived that adventure? Or only dreamt it? Had he really died? It felt so real, not like a dream at all. And he'd lost again. Oh, he hated that. But he had made different choices. And he'd lost in a different way. It was the book, wasn't it? Oracles showed you your destiny. But this was showing him different ways he could die miserably. Thanks a bunch, book, he thought. But these were destinies that he did not have to fulfill. But he'd learned another true thing. The Iblis Stone was evil. It would try to corrupt anyone who used it. But that meant there must be a destiny where he survived and won, right? Otherwise, what was the point? And with that, the book's pages fluttered back once more to the beginning, and the clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Or so a scholar in the mountains had told him. Surely the weapon that banished the lost gods could defeat the Emperor. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis Stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it. To take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Renado had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renado really leave an old friend to the Ravens? Every child knew about the Sky Ripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces. What could have brought them to light? This Emperor, Isengrim III, had once been kind, but he'd gone mad. And now he was conducting secret, obscene rituals to bring back the lost gods. Had he, somehow, summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the earth? It was more than Renado could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it. As he set foot on the island, Renado couldn't help feeling a bit curious. Was Lupino still waiting to be rescued? No. He was probably drinking champagne with the ravens. Did ravens drink champagne? Did rabbits? Renado felt oddly thirsty, come to think of it. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Renado never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
I'll just have a dash, thought Renato.
Hey, how do you tell if someone's far away or just really small? The people who had built this castle, did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The Sky Ripper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the Transcendent Emperor had fought the Lost Gods, thousands of thousands had died. But Renato had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one. He was more and more extraordinary. There was an inscription, no spitting. I think this is yours, said Renato. But he couldn't hear his enemy's answer. Ooh, sparkly, thought Renato. If only he had some way to break the ice, or convince it he was a friend.
magical jewel. Bernardo couldn't wait to find a workbench. Who are you looking at? Oh, right. No one. That had gone rather well, actually. This one looked familiar. Had he lost this one in a card game? Welcome back, he thought. That had been his mistake before, thinking he could win a battle of wills with an ancient evil all by himself. He had to be cleverer than that. Or braver. Or something. There it was. Skyripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device was intricate. No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How was it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Skyripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him. It was a no-brainer. He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils and wheels. War demanded sacrifices.
and he would make more before the end. He would have to choose the greatest good no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across a battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over. He was sure of that. The power was in the core. Obviously, he had to get the core.
Doubt sunk in before he was even out of sight of the Farfarer. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? It was the sort of path he'd always avoided. The path of responsibility, of seriousness. Had he grown up? He didn't feel grown up. He'd made this decision from his gut, like he always did. Somehow, he'd impulsively decided to stop being impulsive. Did that make any sense?
This sword from the mystical East could make time itself slow for you.
What kind of raven can't fly? Thought Reynardo.
Smashing things was fun.
You almost never saw wild gogglers together like this. The toads had to train them not to peck each other to death. So these had to be Imperial gogglers. That meant ravens were up ahead.
You know what I hate about you guys? Everything.
The rock felt hot in his hand. He could feel its secret power. There were fewer and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before?
He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest, the mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? And he was getting hungry, too. This was an unhealthy place to be.
He hoped his hook didn't break. This chest smelled kind of funky. He hoped he didn't get it in his clothes. Of course there was a puzzle. You couldn't expect the Transcendent Emperor to bury a god's eye in a leather sack where anyone could pick it up. Every day he was getting better and better. The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark arts, and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature. The wheels began to spin, then glow. The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He had lost good friends for this war apparatus. Maybe Lapino wasn't such a good friend. Yeah, that made him feel better. He carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now, he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there before he fired it. Well, of course. If you've just assembled a weapon out of legend that can exile gods from the world, you'd want to have a scientist or two look at it. And even if they disagreed and he had time,
He could ask Calaveras himself. Yes, the observatory would be his objective. Why had the parts of the Sky Ripper only surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had dismantled it? The mad Emperor Isengrim had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Was that why these ancient artifacts were rising out of the ground? How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction.
Ice walls only let you through if they knew you were cool.
There was an inscription on the platform. Balaleka lessons, with an address. A gem of power. Ooh, you didn't find those every day. He wished there were more pylons he could use the hook on. They really needed to construct additional pylons. A legendary weapon was exactly what the rebellion needed. They were outnumbered. The once kind emperor had become a tyrant. But his ravens stayed loyal, for he fed them his victims, and the other animals were too frightened to rebel. Renato shuddered at what the emperor was trying to do. To bring back the lost gods, the Black Harvest, the Black Sun? No. He would stop that toad, no matter what the risk. Renato had found his game changer. He would ignore all distractions and focus on the Sky Ripper.
Energy spheres. Easy to dodge, but boy do they sting if you didn't pay attention. This could be the new aerobics craze. Am I right? Renato was thrilled. The scientists seemed to think he'd put the Sky Ripper together right. But one Toad was worried.
Yeah, the Sky Ripper could tear a hole in existence itself. There are invisible strings that tie the universe together. If the Sky Ripper cut one, the hole would widen and widen until our whole existence fell into it.
Another Toad sighed.
Irving still believes in string theory.
Wait a sec.
See Calaveras.
Yeah, said the worried Toad.
He knows more than anyone else has forgotten about the Transcendent Emperor.
If anyone could tell him how to use this weapon safely, it would be Calaveras. It was he who had told Renato how to find it in the first place. But maybe he had to give up on using it as a weapon. Maybe he had to go to the secret rebel base and ask the generals there what he could do with a weapon that he dared not use.
Hi. A little late for me, literally. I don't think I will play long, like maybe 1 hour or a little, or less, 1 hour or less. I hope, oh fuck, I hope English voice will be enough for you, because I don't understand enough for story, so I choose Russian subtitles.
Well, he should have known he'd have to consult Calaveras again. The scientists at the observatory were smart enough. But what did they know of the Transcendent Emperor? He hoped it wouldn't delay him too long.
Another game from my library. I played it last time in 2018.
Calaveras would fix the Sky Ripper for him, and then he would win the final battle.
Okay, that's good. That's good then.
Maybe it was the cold, but after a few steps, Renato's optimism started to slump. What if Calaveras couldn't help? Did Renato dare use the Sky Ripper? Oh, he hated that he had chosen this path. It was so much simpler to rescue friends and attack enemies, even if some of those friends were more trouble than his enemies. Some of those enemies had been friends before and might be lovers after. No, okay, it wasn't all that much simpler, no. Physics made his brain hurt. That At least he was sure of.
What I can say about this game, it's feels very weird, like totally completely weird.
He could learn to cook this way.
This game people looks not so good really.
Probably not.
That's how I need to control my char broken a little, and this battle system not works well. Sometimes game just can't can't clearly understand what I wanted to input,
There was
and
an inscription.
my char do weird things, and I can't to hit the enemy or something else. Maybe I about style, because graphic in this game sucks.
What else could you hook?
I don't look so much on visual in the game, but if game looks sucks, that's terrible for me, of course. But better if game looks cool or something.
He tried to focus
Like
on the
beautiful. If
now.
game
The
looks
ravens who
beautiful.
seemed everywhere all the time. Where did they hatch from? Were there giant raven hatcheries somewhere, or did they have families? Ooh, he didn't want to think about raven mummies raising their darling raven chicks. Yeah, Calvaris would help. He would make Renato feel better about using the Sky Ripper. And then Renato wouldn't have to worry about ravens ever again.
For a moment, Renato wished that somebody had been watching.
If I can add you as friend in Discord. If you wanna, that's not a big deal for me. If we will continue. Fuck. If you will. I don't mean if you will continue. Fuck. I say fuck because I do wrong move. I wanna grab this enemy bomb, but game thinks what I wanted to hit them. He hit him, so I get I do hit and get very low damage. So much damage. If we will continue, if we bolt. We will continue to chat. It's okay. I just don't see notification in Discord while I stream. Especially if I do not get bored or something. Because today I didn't make a pause.
Ooh, what's there? Kill the fox! Called the ravens. Nobody said they were original.
Grab is so strong option in this game, but it works not so good.
That is a very cool sword, thought Renato. No, seriously. He couldn't feel his paw anymore.
Bro, they give me energy.
The rebels were counting on Renato. He hoped Calaveras knew what he was doing.
Sorry, mustache, thought Renato.
Yeah, and almost empty. So big and almost empty. I don't like then developers made it like this.
Calaveras had never let him down.
Yeah, of course I can make it work better.
But when Renato explained about the strings, Calaveras grew thoughtful.
Oh, strings, you say? Well, the Arcana do speak of the ties that bind the world.
He drew many intricate symbols in the dirt.
Yeah, so, according to my calculations, each time you fire, I'm afraid there's a 1 in 120 chance you'll destroy the universe.
That's pretty good odds. That's like rolling, what, 21 dice and they all come up 6. What are the odds of that?
What? No! It's more like 2.716s in a row.
Anyway, with those odds, it won't happen if I use it just once.
No, that's not right. Each time you use it... Okay, look, just don't use it ever.
All right, I guess. As he sailed away from the mountains, Renato could see clouds darkening. Rain? No. Ships. Imperial ships, swarming thick as bees. This was it. The big battle. They could not afford to lose this one. What if it did not go well? What if he had to use the Sky Ripper? Could he gamble the universe? On the other hand, what were the odds of rolling 21 6s in a row?
Yes, this game with Furies.
The battle was not going
All
spectacularly
characters
well.
here is
What had the
Fury.
rebels been thinking? They'd been thinking he would bring the Sky Ripper, or the Iblastone, or that he'd sideline
I
Zenobia
don't mind
somehow,
about Furies, but
turn her.
I'm not a
Couldn't he use
fan.
the Sky Ripper just once? After all, if chances were 1 in 128, that meant he'd for sure be okay the first time. They'd get worse each time he used it, but the first time would be okay, right? He wasn't sure that it was right. So he didn't fire the Sky Ripper. He just brought it along, in case.
I wanna shoot from this shit, please. Give me use it. This chance there is small, why not?
Ah, the road less traveled, thought Reynardo. How intriguing. Reynardo wondered idly if people who had built these poles had really long tentacles. Someone had told him the odds didn't change just because you'd had a streak of good luck. His gut told him that was wrong, though. And he always listened to his gut. On the other hand, 128 chances to win, but one of them, he'd destroy the universe. Ooh. That seemed a bit serious.
And what if I destroy
Maybe he could defeat
this?
the
No, not
Emperor
big
without
deal.
firing the Sky Ripper. Maybe he could
Why
win,
not?
but with a real weapon. Like in cards, when you had
Fuck.
3 names, but you pretended you had a Fizbin. That could work.
Nice battle. Fuck you,
There was an
game.
engraving. Maximum capacity, 130 people.
You know, my world, like, a little change when I realized what Sonic is a Fury. Is Fury. Like, you know, it was 3 or 4 years ago. And before I even don't think about this, never.
He set up the Sky Ripper and let it warm up. He would bluff if he had to. Zenobia came out, flanked by a very daunting platoon of ravens. You won't actually use that, she said in that annoying, I know everything because I'm a cat and you know nothing because you're just a bad. Or I know the odds. Good, because there's a real chance you could destroy the universe. No, not the first time I use it. The odds are too low. What? No? Yeah, sure. The first time, the odds are practically nothing. They only go up if I use it a bunch more times. No, but that's not how odds work. Did you pay
Okay.
attention in class? Now surrender, or I'll use it. Just once, he said. Don't. He felt sure the odds were with him. He had to go with his gut.
That's what heroes do. Fire, he said. Please? The Skyripper fired. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. It was awesome. And then he noticed there was a hole in the air. A blackness, like a tear. Wind was
Nice
blowing
chance.
into it, widening it. It grew larger and even larger. Crates fell upwards into it, and the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror, as it poured into the ravenous hole. Ah, 1 in 128. What are the odds? Thought Reynardo, and then everything fell into the hole and was gone. And just like that, he was alive again, and back on the Farfarer, still fleeing burning Ubar. The book was still open before him. So, the book was a portal. It took you to the future, when your destinies would branch. He had failed and died 3 times, but he'd learned another true thing. The core was powerful, but dangerous if used improperly.
So I need to find only one more about here.
But he was starting to feel like he was getting the hang of this. There was a way through to victory. He could feel it. He just had to keep running the path of destinies. With that, the book fluttered back to the beginning, and he fell into it. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Skyripper had surfaced. Reynardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis Stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Reynardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Reynardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens? The island was windswept desert. No one went there except ostriches and ostrich hunters. The Iblis Stone. It would whisper promises in his ear, offer him power for blood. But this time, Reynardo was sure he could master it. And so, Reynardo went ostrich hunting. Every child could sing verses about the Skyripper, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A stone that ate souls, a ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things the Iblis Stone? Long hidden in the buried temple? Another ancient item that was only resurfacing now? Drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals?
Too much of importance stones and I can't find them. Thanks. Fuck you, game.
What was he doing here? The last time, the stone had fought him for possession of his own soul.
Say hi to gravity for me.
The ravens were already here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late.
Bernardo danced around the room yelling, oh yeah, that's how we do.
Yes, how we do.
It was something he liked to do, but only after he'd killed all the witnesses.
Yes, it's how we do. Yes.
It was time for a little exploration. Bernardo felt a breeze through his armor. Oh dear, that wasn't good. Don't look down, he thought. There had to be some way to use the Iblis stone. It was old, wasn't it? People are so much cleverer now. And Reynardo was pretty sure he was cleverer than most people. This was way better than being able to shrink down to the size of an ant. What was that all about, anyway? Odd that they never locked these things.
bard when you needed one.
The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously, the temple builders knew how to deal with tomb raiders. Oh, this really didn't have much in the way of safety features.
Oh, good to see you again. No, like, it's ok. Pretty default, I don't know. I don't know. I hope I will find one more roof and can
Of the purest blackness.
complete the game.
Light, like a void made solid.
I need to find truth about
He picked it up.
the woman.
Who said that?
Who said that?
It was the stone. Eager. Thirsty.
Kill Empress daughter. So I need to find truth about her, what she
Seemed
loves.
tempting and terribly
him.
wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest
Not so
child,
much.
and a potent witch.
It's not a
They had been
Disc Elysium or
close
something.
once, and he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him.
Why not capture the core
Who said
of
that?
Sky Ripper instead?
Yeah, it
Was
was
the eye
good
of the
line.
god torn out by the transcendent emperor to power his greatest weapon? Not the core, said the stone anxiously.
But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it.
Smart, smart Renardo plans will have not good, not good, something not good.
Why was he listening to a talking rock? Ah, but the rock had a point. If the stone could truly turn him into a powerful warrior, he could defeat the Emperor with the very weapon the wicked old toad had sought for himself.
To be a hero, you had to sacrifice old friends sometimes, especially when they've become enemies.
I hope I will change my mind. Like, I mean, he will change his mind because I won't kill her.
As he placed the impossibly black crystal in his gauntlet, Renato had a sudden vision. Charred fields covered in dead ravens below a black sun.
Was it the time of the lost gods before the transcendent emperor? Was it the future? Feed these souls, it whispered. Take the power. He could feel the stone's hunger for souls, its thirst for blood. All right, I get it.
This was going to be interesting.
Choice without choice, you know. This game about
Something useful in these things, didn't there?
choices and replay it again and again and again. So I played this story already for it's a fourth time, or how it pronounced in English, I don't know, sorry. Like after third.
Renato wondered if his future self had commissioned these poles.
Fuck you, game, really.
The ravens on Zenobia's island were no match for Renato.
They screamed as the stone sucked out their souls. And with each death, he felt stronger. Take the power, the stone told him.
Hey! Hey, a workbench! He could try out his new bling.
Useless. Ah, 5. I need 5 more.
Oh, look! Fracking.
What does it mean? What is fracking? Thanks. What this stone do? Psst. 1%. Thanks. I don't know, look sucks. Don't know about...
Well, no sense collecting more materials. It was time to make something pointy.
Don't know about what I can make choices.
Worse with Zenobia than he'd done with the core, could he?
What the fuck?
Not everyone knew how to use magical gems. Of course, not everyone had magical gem gauntlets like he did.
Oh, I need this stone. This what I seek all this time. Thanks.
Zenobia was waiting for Reynardo. She was alone, confident as always. Fire danced at the tips of her claws.
Are you here to surrender?
She seemed as cocksure as he felt. But she didn't know he had the stone. And I've missed you too, love. He chuckled. She spotted the stone and bolted without another word.
I come to surrender. And run out. Woman. Ah. Stone. Stone. Now you'll have some problem with this.
You never knew where
Shield,
it would
but-
take you, thought Reynardo.
But I will attack faster, so and don't think about what's in this.
Boy, someone has spent a lot of money
Oh,
on the graduation
that's
party.
what I need. Literally, thanks, game. Oh, fuck. Chilling while watching you play. Maybe I'll draw a bit at the same time. Don't.
Finally, Renato caught up to her. He had never seen her scared before. At school, she'd been the determined, brave one. Now her eyes were wide, frightened. He didn't like seeing her this way. Kill her, whispered the stone. You cannot win your rebellion without it. Please. No, said Zenobia. Not that way. Oh, they had been so close once. Could he really feed her soul to his demonic gem? But if he spared her, he would not get the full power of the stone. Oh, how could he be the hero he wanted to be?
It don't looks like good idea, but I mean about if you will draw, but it's up to you, of course. So
Renato hesitated. Zenobia was his greatest enemy. She was the Emperor's daughter.
I hope I
his
will
greatest
find
general,
my
the single person Renato least wanted to remove from
all
his
my
life,
4
especially
truth.
that way. She was holding her arms out before her, hands fluttering, fending him off with hopeless urgency. Nope. She was weaving a spell. He couldn't move. This thing is evil, she said.
She slid the Iblistone out of its slot in his gauntlet and slipped it into a bag. Maybe we can learn from it.
She eyed him with a strange, wry, apologetic look. I missed you too. And before he could move again, she was gone. Learn from the Iblistone? What did that mean? Would she take it to the palace or to the observatory on the Nexus? If she thought it was evil, she wouldn't want it in the palace.
And, after all, it was evil, wasn't it?
Maybe I can outrace her to the observatory, thought Renato. Cats can run faster, but foxes can run longer.
Of course I will chase him. Okay.
Renato felt a little sick. Ever since Zenobia had taken the stone from him, he'd felt an ache that wouldn't go away. He missed it.
It
He wanted it back.
it
He
sounds
needed it
good
back.
if you
Why hadn't he killed her when he had the chance? She was the enemy.
not leave.
He hadn't even seen her in 14 years. Why had he hesitated? You're a sucker for an empowered woman. Renato kicked himself. Don't make that mistake. He once met a pirate
Omega.
captain who used hooks to get around his ship. Oh, what was his name again?
When I played it 7 years ago, I pray for all the choices. It was like, I mean, I'm changed a little. I'm changed a little.
mysterious sword from the east made you so fast you could catch a fly with your chopsticks. If that's what you really want.
Like 10 years? Or something. I told you before that I play my old games right now because I have not money for new games. And I remember why I dropped it because this game need to for complete this game you need to replay this, and I don't like so much then game forces you recomplete. And what? Fuck you! What the fuck? Nice! I just can't grab fucking this grab sucks in this game. I'm tilted. Why can't dodge? What's wrong with you? Oh fuck. What's happened? Fucking bullshit. Nah. Yes, it's unfair, but that's how this game works, so... I told you before that
Sparkly.
this game works not correctly.
Zenobia thought the stone was evil.
Ah,
Well, yes, but he still longed to have it back. He'd felt so good killing ravens with it, and yet he'd felt unclean ever since he'd touched it. She confused him.
I draw this game before
She made him
because
out to be a better fox, and then she'd abandoned him, never telling him she was the Emperor's daughter, never contacting him since. Well, who was she to tell him the stone was evil?
I draw this game before because I found this game so easy.
Now he could slice the wings off a fly in the air.
I mean, this is second reason.
It's sort of mean, really.
If I die here again, this would sucks. It really sucks. Because I die here already 2 or 3 times. Just because character can't run immediately after you change. Whoa! There. That's bullshit. Fuck! What's wrong with you? I press fucking dash.
Teach you how to fly.
Games with auto targets really sucks.
No skateboard.
I just wanna complete this and delete. I hope I will complete this. I hope.
The scientist toads were pointing arcane instruments at the stone and looking at it through prisms and reflections.
Mine, said Reynardo as he took back the stone.
Well, we need it for science, croaked the toads. So he killed them. He felt better immediately.
What the fuck?
Better, too. I thought you'd never come for me, whispered the stone. Then
What the fuck?
Speaker Toad croaked in something like Zenobia's voice.
Reynardo, leave the stone with the toads. It will swallow your soul. You'll kill everyone you love.
That did seem vaguely familiar, but Reynardo had an army to lead, an empire to bring down.
I guess.
I know you can fight this thing.
Zenobia continued in the far speaker's croak.
You let me live. You know how evil it is. It will destroy you, Reynardo. It will destroy everything you love.
He had tried to convince himself that
I
this
mean,
time he
I know what
could
I can
control
do.
the
It's just about
feel his will
in
have
this
its
time,
She was
like
right.
right now,
Get rid of it, right?
like not later,
Or
right now.
now. He didn't really want to. I know. I'll go to the mountains, Reynardo thought. I'll find the strength to do it in the peace and quiet there.
Oh fuck! It looks like I'm fucked.
As the Farfarer landed at the foot of the mountains, Reynardo was surprised to find Lapino there.
What the fuck?
are you doing here?
Oh,
What the fuck?
you wouldn't believe it. I was stowed away on an Imperial courier ship, dressed up as a combat nurse carrying a general's beak transplant.
This is not a great time, said Reynardo, who was pretty sure he did not, in fact, believe Lapino's story.
That's when you need your friends.
Said Lapino. I just need some peace and quiet, said Reynardo, and grimly set out on the path.
This bunny is traitor. He straight. He's kill me and kill all of.
He smelt burnt fur. His. Reynardo had heard stories of a dungeon where chests were filled with potions and weapons.
All revolution or something. I saved him. This was my first choice because, like, he's my friend. But said he's not.
There were stickers all over the platform for really hot lady foxes, with pictures and addresses and everything.
Lady foxes. Yummy. Yeah. Literally shoot in the back with arbalete. With crossbow.
He felt like Tarzan.
What the fuck? Thanks. Yeah, double agent.
Bernardo told his friend how he had slaughtered the toads and how he had nearly slain Zenobia. A terrible burden, this Iblis stone, sympathized the rabbit. Yeah, but I need it for the rebellion. Do you now? You know, you're a pretty fine fighter before you were wielding a demonic decoration. Oddly, the sword wasn't whispering at him to kill the Pino. Up ahead in the mountains, there was a peaceful spot. If he could rid himself of his burden anyway...
Really strange what he didn't tell me what I need to kill him.
Have you ever felt you were just going round in circles? Bernardo felt like that.
Ah, I can't grab them again! Fuck this shit! Oh, fuck.
Oh, he really wasn't making a dent in those shields.
I hope it will be, but I know, no, I guess it will not. I guess for truth about her, I need to
He needed some way to break the
choose
ice
to
of
trade
this war,
her or something.
so to speak.
Betray her or something. Because when I played 7 years ago, I chose to not to speak with her. I chose.
Sometimes, Bernardo really hated
I don't know this word in English. Like something bad for her. And after that, I unlock the end that now you know he loves you. It's strange because in the end, this rabbit betrayed me. She kissed him and
before.
you understand what she loves him. I I don't know why I didn't unlock the truth about her, like she's scenario, I guess.
Renato thought it would make a difference, snatching the Iblis stone before the Emperor could get it. And it would destroy him. Zenobia and Lapino, they were both trying to save him. Peace. That was what he needed. So much for peace and quiet. There was Lapino.
What the fuck?
You're stronger than some dumb rock, Lapino said. Let's just bury you.
Why these fucking rabbits here?
Renato could feel the spirit energy of all those dead ravens inside him, pecking away. The rabbit was right. Even if the rabbit was a traitor, he was still right. He tore the Iblis stone from his gauntlet and threw it into the hole Lapino had dug. The stone was silent,
What the fuck?
probably sulking. Now whoop those Imperials, said Lapino. Are you coming? Ah, no, I can't come with you. It's my old injury, you know. Recently, it's been acting up terrible. I'd be no use to you at all. So Renato boarded the Farfarer alone.
What the fuck? What?
Renato felt
That's
lonely
about.
on board the
I
Farfarer.
said before.
How could his old
Choice
friend
before
Lapino,
choices
who
because
recently escaped from the Empire,
I
leave him
want,
to face the final battle alone? Well, he'd
to-
abandoned Lapino before, hadn't he? It was only fair. And of course he felt lonely. He'd given up the Iblis stone and all the souls he fed it.
I
Of
want.
course he felt alone.
I want.
But he had done the right thing. It had been hard to do, but there was no better feeling. Zenobia would be so proud of him.
Fuck this game.
The battle, alas, was not.
No, I will not end this game
He
today.
had the stone, and he'd never gotten the core. Lapino was with him, and he was up against Zenobia, out there somewhere, maneuvering the Emperor's forces. The rebels had been outnumbered from the start, and he still had that aching longing for the stone. But that is what it means to be a hero. He would fight his way to Zenobia. He would show her what he was capable of. Just him, with no diabolic accoutrements. He would win, no matter the odds.
Fuck this game. Yeah, because I choose something wrong.
He hadn't noticed that path before.
But is I seek her. No, not this shit. No, not this bunny. What the fuck? You know, it feels. I frustrate.
That was it.
It's frustration
Forward,
because
slash, parry, dodge. Renato had never done good work in a fight. He wished the poets were allowed to sing of his exploits for his old age. Maybe he wouldn't have to kill Zenobia. Maybe he could defeat her and take her prisoner. Then he could turn the tide against the Emperor. If she wasn't crowned princess, once this was all over, she'd have more time for him, right?
where is my fucking grab? It's feel.
Renato wondered what would happen if he jumped. Would he be rescued by an emergency platform?
I will not because I just go try to sleep after that. This is a clear frustration because, like, you know, when I play 7 years ago, I make some choice where I find that she loves me. Okay, but I am like betrayed her, and today I make a choice that I save her, and now I can't find a way where I can find it true what she loves me. What the fuck? What's fucking wrong with this game? Like,
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Again.
like,
This time, he'd make an end of him.
ah.
But he had a good feeling about this time.
Feels like I... Feels like I'm... I was...
By some miracle, Renato fought his way to the Emperor's ship. He was exhausted, bleeding, but he'd found the strength to reject the stone. Zenobia came out of the ship. "Renato!" she shouted, and then she fell down and died. Lapino was behind her, wielding a sword that seemed to suck all the light out of the sun. "You idiot! You threw the stone away!" cried Lapino. "You said..."
Ah! That's why Stone was silent, because Stone chose him. Stone chose this fucking bunny. Ah! 10 out of 10.
"It hates sanctimonious prigs like you," laughed Lapino. "We're having a grand old time." Renato turned and ran. But no matter where he ran, Lapino jumped in front of him until Renato was cornered. That boy could hop. "You wouldn't do this to an old friend, would you?" cried Renato. "You mean this?" said Lapino as he slid the sword into Renato.
He kills me again.
"Damn it! Again?"
Again?
And he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
What the fuck? I need the truth about here, but I got this sheet. Ah, he kills me again. Yeah. Like, I need find the truth about here, and after that I can find a true ending or something.
There would be a way to win. Renato could feel it. He'd have to explore choices.
Fuck
he'd
this
never made
game.
before he could figure it all out.
Literally, fuck
With
this
that-
game.
The beginning once again. And he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer.
pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis Stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
And there is my mark about... And there is my mark.
The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose.
Time to
The
choose.
rebellion was in trouble.
Then it was
Ravens
in
were scouting
trouble.
for the secret rebel base.
Secret rival
They
base.
needed a game changer.
It's a
Pieces
game
of the Sky
changer.
Ripper had surfaced.
Oh,
Renato
thanks.
knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple
I don't know, I
risen out of
wanted
empty
to
desert.
sleep.
The Iblis
Like,
Stone was
literally
hidden there.
Wanted to sleep, but...
It was a dangerous artifact.
It
could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty
And I
monster.
wanted to speak
Maybe
with someone.
to find a way
Like...
to use it, to take its power without surrendering.
Oh,
its
fuck, it
wickedness.
hadn't
And
happened.
also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed.
Fuck, I hadn't.
Leave an old friend to the Ravens.
So, in this shit, I could to find a way about she, but I make wrong choices, so I won't go to sleep, like, not with, oh, like, won't. Not want. Because my body really wanted. But I wanna chat with someone. I will alone all day again. Like yesterday. I always what the fuck in Ukraine? What's fucking wrong with you? Tomorrow I will alone tomorrow alone go. I feels bad today. Feels really bad. Fuck all of this.
The island was windswept desert. No one went there except ostriches and ostrich hunters. The Iblis Stone. It would whisper promises in his ear, offer him power for blood.
I need to
This
sleep.
time, Renato was sure he could master it. And so, Renato went ostrich hunting.
I hate this.
Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper.
Shut Stop,
Ancient
please.
codices held hints
I'm
of
tired
other
of
things.
you.
A stone that ate souls. A ruby that drank blood.
Fuck you. Fucking shit. Damn, I complete almost all achievements. Yeah, we'll try, but I guess you would not realize all it's fucking wrong with translator. Why I write on Russian and I guess you just don't understand all scales of situation because you don't know how it is being alone like 50 years, be without parents, without someone, without anyone. It's good to you, of course, but I hope we will. I hope we will. I mean, I hope we will chat tomorrow. This game is uh 2016, not a 2015. Oh, I'm almost complete this fucking shit. Almost. Almost. Broke someone play this game 24 times for all endings. Feels like a real mother. Uh, uh, which picture you prefer? I mean, from second row. About this woman. I guess if I choose the stone first, I will get third if you... I guess you see my cursor. No, I mean this second row. About she. Yo, there is this ending. There she grab the stone and kill him. Yo. Damn. That's hard. So I don't know, all this Sentix looks sucks. Uh Stop. Something wrong. Something wrong. Strange. Uh I have overcards. Like uh this, yeah? This. And I have how I can show you this? No, how, of course. Not like, I guess this was update or something. Because some years ago I got this and this. And here they're different. I don't know, I prefer like old one than this. Anyway, game sucks. So yeah. Okay, it was good to see you. It was good to chat with you and other things. So I guess yeah, thank you. I guess